Hello, everybody. Welcome to the full moon in Aries phase. Full moon, hunter moon, they call it. Very timely, very interesting title because, on one hand, it is a time of hunting at this time of year in North America, probably in parts of Europe, but it's also correlated with an Aries moon because Aries is like a hunter. It's like Artemis, the god of the hunt, goddess of the hunt. So, what are we hunting? What are you hunting for? I'm personally hunting for a little more groundedness, a little more calm, because things have been really, really super hectic, haven't they? There's this feeling, of energy building and building ever since July. And it's like we're waiting for it to sort of pop and calm down, and it's not. And it's sort of like, when somebody just is like tap, 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 tap. And slowly you're going like, ah. So because that has been this buildup of energy and angst and anxiety, I mean, everyone I know is in some sort of busy, hectic, intense type of phase. An Aries moon has the potential to bring a breakthrough or a meltdown. Sorry to tell you, but there you have it. I'm going to obviously take a look at the chart, and I'm going to help everybody figure out what to do in this 2-week phase of the full moon and to the new moon. What's the energy? How do you orient your mind? Some people, you're going to be ready for the bold action of an Aries moon. Some of you are ready to let go, walk away, tell someone off, say, that's it, I'm quitting cigarettes, whatever it is, like bold, brutal action, Some of you are ready for that. It might be your window. Those of you who are not, just know that this is the general energy of an Aries moon that's in the air, and other people will be frantic or tantrumy or temperamental or angry or road raging or, just pent up in many ways. And so you might want to particularly lay low, So we always have to just read what the energy is, and then you have always your personal choice how you're going to respond to it as you notice the patterns of it. I'm going to start off today then with a little bit of sound healing this time. And of course, I'm going to burn something to help cleanse. This time what I have is, doesn't look too sexy, it's juniper. And it's beautiful. And this one is from Sedona. I got it years ago. Well, or I ordered it a while ago. And I just love burning juniper. Because that vortex energy from Sedona, I can feel it when I burn this stuff. It feels extra potent to cleanse, and I feel like we all need some extra cleansing. So first, let's just burn some of this juniper. I hope that you'll also feel a bit of that energy. You can always do this yourself if you have cedar, sage, mugwort, juniper, lavender, palo santo, whatever is your tradition or whatever you feel good with. I like experimenting with different things based on their energies. Yeah, this has given me a nice light feeling. This is great. Hopefully you can feel it from me to you. All right. The second thing I'm going to do is just bring us a little bit of sound, just a little bit of clarity. This is my This is a throat chakra. It's blue, but it's also attuned to the throat chakra. So, you know, if you feel anything in your neck or your jaw, your throat or your shoulders from this sound, just allow that to play out. Like, don't get worried. Just let the energy flow out. Think about what you might need to say. You know, an Aries moon, especially when we're in Libra, can be conflictual because Aries will just say, you know, they'll just spit out what they think. And Libra is like, that was rude, but they won't say anything necessarily. So bringing you the sound healing of the throat chakra, let's just help think about, you know, is there anything I need to say right now before the full moon hits? Just so that you could maybe clear it. And I just try to always save people some conflicts and drama if we can. All right, so here we go. Just see if you feel anything. Bringing it right around my throat. So now I'm going to make it sing. It'll be a little more intense. I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable with the throat chakra and they don't like this bowl, you know, so we won't continue it for anymore. That's it. But I just wanted to give you a taste. I can feel this. I feel like, okay. So there's always a lot that I like. I like to talk. And there's always stuff I need to say. So I'm aware when I feel constriction. Okay, maybe there's things that I haven't said. You don't have to say them to people directly. You can write them down in a journal or a letter that maybe you'll never send that letter, but you can get it out of your system, get it out of your energy field. We've just finished Mercury retrograde on the 18th. So things are going to be slowly getting better and unblocking on this level, which is great. All right, let's take a look at our astrology chart now. And I'm not YouTube savvy enough yet to put up green screens with pictures of the chart or logos or stuff like that, but I will learn because it'd be nice if I could just scroll and you could see the chart behind me so that, yeah, it would just be nice for everybody if you could see it too, right? Or see the cards as we do it. So I will figure this out. Let's take a look now. So just going to enlarge my image so I see it better. Alrighty, so the full moon hits Wednesday, the 20th of October at 10:57 a.m. Eastern. So calculate your time zone and see where it hits for you. So, of course, the rising sign and the houses are going to be relevant if you're in the Eastern time zone, as usual. So I have to say there's a lot of conflicting energy in this chart at a first glance. And as usual, there are some areas where there's a lot of harmony. So we're definitely going to zone in on what's the best use of this energy. So as I mentioned, we are in the sign of Libra. We have also Mars in Libra right now. And we have Mercury still in Libra. So this is a huge pull towards keeping things fair, diplomatic, a little bit more surface for the sake of harmony with people, for the sake of not getting into unnecessary conflicts or dramas. However, sometimes, as we know, that Libra energy can go a bit too far to where it's afraid of any conflict, and then it becomes sort of flat or shallow if there's never any discussion or conflict, if everything's always made to be too pleasant, right? So Mars in Libra is not a very decisive position for it. It's not very assertive. So in some ways, that could calm down the level of conflict that's sort of present when there's a full moon in Aries with Libra planets. Because if Mars were in a different sign that was more stubborn or perhaps more fiery as well to complement the moon, then we would really see people firing off their tempers, or maybe worse. But the Sun and Mars are in Libra. It's a more pacifist position. It's more of a position that's going to overthink, try to talk it out 100 ways, perhaps resort to writing things down or rewriting or writing instructions or leaving a note for somebody or an email. Lots of messaging back and forth. Sometimes, if it isn't direct enough, that Aries moon's not even going to hear it. Sometimes Libra can be so diplomatic and delicate and precise with language. It's beautiful if people are at that level and they catch it, but there's plenty of times when people just don't hear it. There were too many implications, too many things that you thought somebody would know by how it was worded. But when it's this, delicately written, goes over a lot of people's heads. So if you're finding that that's your issue, that you've been trying to communicate something and you feel people aren't getting it or hearing you and you're frustrated as to why, it could be that you're tippy-toeing a bit too much with something. Mercury, it's direct, and it's also in Libra. So again, it just emphasizes a lot of this talking it out, socializing, intellectual activity, putting things in an abstract fashion. So again, if you're missing your message or people are you're like, gosh, I've written this, like, I've tried to let them know how I feel or what's expected, like about 5 times, and they're still not getting it. Well, sometimes you need that Aries moon that just comes along and goes, get it. Great. Good. It's like those Clarica ads. You remember those? Like, where there's something complex and interesting, and then the person pushes them aside and says, basically, this is what's going on. There's a bit of that feeling in the air. Like, be diplomatic, but don't tippy-toe. All right. Of course, that Aries moon is exactly opposite the Sun and Mars. When you see the moon opposite the Sun, well, that's every month we have a full moon like that. So it just emphasizes polarities, people on different sides of the equation. It stands out to us more. But when you've got Mars there, moon opposite Mars could have aggressive tendencies. I mean, we might see, I wouldn't be surprised with all of the other conflictual planets if we don't see some sort of, I don't even know what to call it anymore. We're going to see some high level of conflict on the news. I mean, we might see something, a stronger protest movement, other acts of violence. Of course, there's always acts of violence in the world. So what do we mean? It's sort of hard to predict for an entire globe. But if you find that there's anything that seems a bit heightened in the news or around you, or people's patience is very thin. So Moon and Mars opposite Mars, I'm gonna put it this way: I wouldn't be driving if I didn't have to on a full moon. The other advice that is sort of general astrology advice for things to do or not do with different moon signs, because Aries rules the blood and the head, it's usually not a good idea to do things that are related to the head or the blood during a full moon in Aries. So for example, we might not want to give blood. We might not want to have surgeries. We might not want to go to the dentist. We might see more people with headaches or migraines, stuff like that. That might be the way it plays out for you. Like, you might not have a temper tantrum, you might be feeling just fine. But sometimes all of that tension, whether it's yours or everybody else's, and you're picking it up, could give you a throbbing headache. So it could play out that way too. So let's delve into what else is going on. Now, just, to add to the cautionary tales part of it, this moon and Sun Mars are squaring off with Pluto, and that's significant because years ago, 2011, when Uranus was first entered Aries and was squaring off with Pluto, we had uprisings started in Egypt. And of course, over those 7 years of Uranus and Aries, there were many uprisings and overthrowings of governments, and more so than usual. So, because it's not Uranus in this case, but it's still Moon and Mars squaring off, I would definitely expect something dramatic, something with an upheaval or protest or backlash to it. Yeah. I think we're used to this kind of thing by now. Unfortunately, maybe we're desensitized to it, but just as far as astrological timing of things, well, this moon period, which means, a few days before or after, this week can just be very heightened emotion, heightened experiences. Now, in your personal life, what you would look for, if you're not thinking about, your city, your town, global issues, I would, again, that the tippy-toeing thing, the bluntness, both of these things are squaring off with Pluto. You might have a conversation that absolutely breaks through, layers of misunderstanding and crap, because Pluto just sort of just knocks you off your block and says, like, spit it out, tell the truth. The truth will set you free. If you don't like it, well, it's got that kind of attitude as well when Pluto is in this mix. So you could be in the mood to just bust open something that's been bothering you with someone. You might feel like telling people off. Someone might tell you off. You might be struggling between, which approach do you use in order to have the most impact or power, strategically, like if it's with your work or if it's a delicate situation with your personal life. You might be struggling, well, do I do this with like the nice way, the kid gloves way? Do I write letters? Do I do this the legal way, procedural, step by step? Or do I just come in there and go, knock it off? And just laying it all on the table bare and raw. Like, so you might be torn between those extremes, and thus all of this tiptoeing and humming and hawing and weighing. Now, the other thing that's going on is Sun, Mars, and Libra is also squaring or conflicting with Saturn. Saturn will, come along and sort of go, now, calm down, start from the beginning, make this methodical and practical here. It's in Aquarius. It's going to be a little more like, this is maybe a better philosophy to have. This is sort of the way that we should think about redesigning our lives or redesigning our society. Like, a bit, it might be progressive. It might be still heavy-handed because it's Saturn. This is squaring off with the Sun and Mars in Libra. This could feel sort of like, again, it might calm down the threads of volatility. It sort of curbs all of that back and forth, back and forth. I don't know, weighing. Saturn is also squaring off now with Uranus too in Taurus. So there's sort of, these planets sort of converge and make pressure on Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius is sort of, trying to revolutionize our society right now for the next couple of years. It's trying to set a tone of new rules to live by. And of course, we know we're in that, and there's people who are accepting a new way, and there's people that are rebelling hard, and there's all kinds of different lenses to look at all of this from. And Saturn's really trying hard to be very forceful and forging a new way. And that doesn't mean that there is one way. There's multiple people and not people. There's multiple parties or multiple philosophies that are trying to secure their way. So Uranus and Sun Mars are challenging all of that. So again, intellectual wars, cyber wars. A lot of us might feel just so overwhelmed mentally because we're not sure what lens do we want to look through. Which one is the real one? Which one is the safest one or the most beneficial one for us, for everybody? There's a lot of gaslighting, of course, going on. But some of it isn't gaslighting. Some of it is just suppressed sides of an argument. And a lot of us are like just really not sure which one to stand by. So that's in the air as well. That's been in the air most of COVID, but it could be heightened because of these squares and this full moon. The other thing squaring off with Uranus is Jupiter in Aquarius too. So that's extra emphasis on the, this is the new way we should live. This is the way we should do things. It's emphasizing that again. Now, what we have that's interesting also in this chart is Venus in Sagittarius. And if you're on the Eastern time zone, that Venus is on the rising sign. So this means, at least over on this time zone, you're going to see people emphasizing their freedom, their desire and their right to be free. So, oh boy, when you've got the moon in Aries with Venus in Sagittarius, Sag rising, definitely people are going to be out asserting their right to be free and their desire to travel and be free, to move around. So we could see some more shenanigans or difficulties with our systems of travel or the rules around traveling. So where do we find flow? Let's talk about that now. What's working the best in this chart? So Venus in Sag is making a good aspect to Mercury in Libra. It's a minor aspect, but it still counts. So Venus and Mercury together, well, it's being pleasant. It's keeping things more positive, happy, light. That's one area that's working well. Some people would call that, bypassing or avoiding or shallow. Some people would call that wisdom, not getting drawn into drama or conflict. So it's up to you. But that's one area that's working well, is just socializing and being pleasant, uplifting, funny, cracking jokes, talk about something else than politics. And that Venus is also making, interestingly, a good aspect to Chiron, which is the wound, our wound. And the wound in this chart, according to house and where the moon is, the wounds are in the house of home, the house that represents our family and our roots and our parents, usually the mom, but it could also be dad. It really depends on who provided the security and the stability of the home. And so there's something about healing wounds from your home life or your childhood or your ancestry. Like, oh, where did that come from? That's like, that just feels like we're going off to the side of everything I've just said, right? Completely different focus. But this is where the energy is working in harmony. If you wanted to pull back and do a lot of internal work on yourself, it's a great moon for that. The other area that's working well is Sun Mars in Libra, making a good aspect to Jupiter in Aquarius. So again, we're still talking about what is the new world, what is the future, but we're doing it when it comes to Jupiter with Libra and Mars. Now we're talking about sort of conceptualizing, almost like if we were to write a book called 2022 and it was a sci-fi, what would it be? You know, it's from a more uplifting, expansive, creative kind of lens. And so, you know, visioning, brainstorming and visioning, and not getting too political or angry or heavy about it, just like dwelling in the possibilities. That can be a great way to flow with this moon energy too. Is just try not to get bogged down in the angry, hectic side, because that might be hard. If you can try to stay a little bit detached or think about just that we're at a time in history where a lot is going to be changing and a lot can be rewritten. And maybe just playing around with, well, what would I like, you know, as a new life, if I could change my life, what would be an interesting or unconventional, what have I never thought that I could do that maybe now I could? That'd be an excellent use of this energy. Brainstorming possibilities. Now, the other thing that's working well, that same Jupiter is also making a nice aspect to the Aries moon. So if you want to really use this moon well, you pull in and you connect to, what do I need? What's my next bold step in my life? What possibilities does it have? How can I speak to people who are engaging my mind? How can I read or listen to things that are really engaging my mind and my vision? So I'm getting, you know, some options and that inspire me about how could I live differently? Not trying to solve the whole world. Talk about you. Moon and Aries would be like, they're thinking about what they need. They're thinking about themselves. So if you never do that, you know, if you have a hard time, this is what this moon is about. Think about yourself. And what bold step could you maybe take to change your life? And that is the best use, best use of this moon. So let's now turn to the cards. So I'm going back to my Thoth deck. I love the Light Seers, and I'll bring it back. And I'm considering getting another deck to add that I've always loved. So I will surprise you when that one comes in. I have to order it. But I'm going to my Trusted and True deck. All right. Let's see what else this Aries moon has to offer us. All right, so our first card here is the King of Cups. So this is a gentle, sentimental guy. He's romantic. He's also loves his home. When he is in love, he's devoted. He's attentive. He will listen. He knows that if you're crying, it's time to hug you. He might be a little bit emotional, sentimental. He might have trouble getting over something in his past because he's a deep person. So is there anyone around you like this? Because maybe they'll be significant. I can think of one in mind. Our second card here is the Five of Cups. It says disappointment. It's got Mars and Scorpio. So the Cups cards are always about emotions. So when you've got the Five of Cups, you have emotional disappointment. So that means people that have, hurt your feelings, let you down, walked away or let you go, or you might feel, dismissed or betrayed, disappointed in somebody for a reason. These cups are all dry. There's no water in them. The water below is dark and the skies are red. Red skies are usually meaning a warning. Mars in Scorpio would be a very manipulative, emotionally manipulative person. They know exactly how to psychologically, they know exactly how you tick, and they know how to push that button. And so, because they're highly skilled at using emotion, maybe we're talking about somebody who has been hurtful to you in the past, psychologically or emotionally neglectful or abusive in some way. Could just be an episode or maybe their ongoing personality, but we're dealing with some disappointment over who this person really is, or that the relationship can't sustain, or that it didn't work, or it couldn't have worked. Mars in Scorpio is also a highly sexualized placement. Like it can be very high libido, to the point of sex addict, or can't, cheating, or can't stop. It can be also somebody very jealous and possessive. In the worst case scenario, this could be somebody who stalks you. Hopefully no one's going through that, but so we're just going to see where this leads. But if this is ringing a bell or making you think of anyone, past or present, it's time to try to clear this or heal this. And the next card is the Seven of Discs, which is, it says failure, Saturn in Taurus. Very low self-worth, difficulty figuring out your values, or feeling like other people don't value you. You might not be asking for what you are worth with a certain person or in general. This can play out in your money situation too, right? If you have low self-worth, you tend not to feel that you have any abundance in your life. So you will often feel like you're scraping by financially, or people never quite pay you enough, or people don't respect your time enough. They don't value your work. If it's in a love situation, there's trust problems. There's you feel the other person doesn't value you for who you are. The way out of this is to do things to raise your own self-esteem. Oh my goodness, what a... Okay, so this is a pretty emotional moon for some of you. If you're resonating with these cards, Eight of Cups is when we just feel like, I just can't even, like, I'm so done. I got no more words. I've felt every way I can feel. I've tried everything I can try. I'm emotionally numb. So here we see how black the skies are. Not all the cups are dry. There is still some water pouring through. But this card is usually one where you just want to walk away and you feel isolated. And the opposite of isolated is connection. So if you're feeling really depressed about something or someone, you really do need to reach out. Whether you call a friend or a family or a hotline, or you just go sit somewhere where you see other people so that you could even have just a basic, nice, friendly conversation at a patio or at a park or somewhere, but you need connection. Don't isolate yourself if this is how you're feeling. And if you are feeling this way and you can handle it and you need to withdraw, and this is a grieving kind of state of mind that's coming up here in these cards. So some of you must be letting go. That couldn't have been more perfect. So the Fool comes after that. You're clearing old stuff. The Fool is making way for a new life. Again, it comes back to the stuff we said about the chart of having a vision. The best use is to think about possibilities and visions of the future. You don't have to have the whole plan figured out yet. You don't have to decide or commit to any of it. This is about enjoying thinking about what is possible. And as you think about what is possible and you feel hopeful or you get excited by something, then that's part of what you need to do. If you're sitting there going, I don't know, maybe I should, or maybe this, or should I, or I'm not sure, or should I? No, that's not the Fool. That's breaking your head. The Fool is when you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. I could do this and combine that with this other thing that I wanted. Oh, I never saw it that way. Wow, that just suddenly made that simpler. Okay, let's figure out how we can do that. That's the Fool. And the Hermit. Well, we're getting into the major arcana cards. So this is sort of, major arcana are things that show us what stage of life you're in. And they're usually not negotiable. Like the other cards, you have more choice over what happens or what you do or say or how you handle it. But the major arcana are sort of like, no, this is the passage you're going through. So in your new beginning, the Hermit card comes up. So you do need, to do some research or to give yourself some me time or alone time, which is another Moon and Aries type of thing. Moon and Aries, it's like me, and me. Okay? Me. That's Moon and Aries. Me. So you need to do that. If you are not that typically doing that, you need to be me. And if you need some downtime or alone time, then you better damn well take it. If you start reading, if you sleep more, if you meditate, the lights go on, the inspiration comes, all the lights beaming are on the Hermit. The wheat that surrounds him suggests fertility. The egg surrounded by a snake in front of his face where the sky clears, that's the birth of his new idea, his new life. So you need to pull back and you need to reflect. Now, I know what I just said about isolation. If you're feeling too depressed, if you're feeling like really shaky, that no, if you're alone, if you know that you would get worse, then you reach out. But if you feel emotionally ready to go within and be a little more alone, you're going to be super productive and figure out what you need to do. Oh boy, major arcana again, the Hangman. Okay, so your new life or your new plan is going to take some time. The Hangman doesn't happen fast. Hangman can take a year, could take longer. Some people will take 2. But it certainly doesn't take like 6 weeks. The Hangman means like there's a period of slow, steady, sometimes feels like sacrifice, building towards what you want. But there's also a lot of learning in that process. So if you flash forward an idea or a new way of life, let's say somebody decides I'm going to sell everything and move to a tiny home by the ocean. Hangman would say, okay, but think about it, research this, plan this, move wisely, not quickly. It's going to be a big transition. Giving up a lot of your stuff is a sacrifice. But then there's also this beautiful liberation that comes at the end. 5 of Swords. So this is usually a conflict card, like an eruption of an argument, difference of opinion, friction, sometimes breakups, but it's usually a little more like transient than that. Like, it's not the emotional card of the Five of Cups. It's an air card. So it's basically people disagreeing. So, I don't think you can start a new life or a new anything, a new world, new rules, new governments, I don't think you can do any of that without it taking quite a long process and without some conflict. So during this moon, obviously people do not like conflict. Aries moon's going to love it. Bring it on. Let me fight you. Aries moon will definitely do that. Oh yeah, you want a piece of me? Aries moons will do that. Libra planets, oh my God, no, please don't do that. So you might see some pushback or disagreement as you talk about your new life. Don't worry about it. This is very passing. Oh, lovely. And we end off with one more major arcana. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 out of the 9. So the sun, we end off at the sun. This would basically tell you, stick to your guns. Stick to what you want. When you've had a vision or a desire or inspiration that really moved you, that's strong enough, that makes you want to act, don't let anybody stop you. The sun means you'll succeed. This is quite the moon, man. This is quite the moon. I feel like our question today for all the signs, I feel like more of a deep question, honestly, because where the energy's flowing was a lot related to healing the house and home, healing the family, healing the ancestral roots. So I'm going to make the readings about that. So the question for this Aries moon is, what do I need? What does my sign? What do I need to heal? What action can I take right now? What could I do to further my own healing? Sometimes that advice might be shocking, but that's what we're going to look at. All right, so here we go. Aries. Aries, what do you need to do to heal? We've got the Three of Wands, virtue. Now, that full moon is hitting your sign. It is going to charge you up. It's going to give you energy. This card, though, is the Sun in Aries. It is virtue. And this card is talking about doing the right thing. This is talking about ethics. This is that side of you, that deep side of you that knows the healthiest, most ethical, fair, full-on integrity actions to take. So it means the way you heal is to do the noble thing. Do the right thing, do the noble thing. Don't let yourself slip in to other people's vibe, other people's low behavior, other people's conflicts, dramas, gossip, revenge, wherever their headspace is at, their lies, whatever it is. This card means for you to heal, you take the high road. Ask yourself, what would the Dalai Lama do? And do that. Something like that. All right. Taurus. Taurus, what do you need to do to heal? Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. It's about putting your foot down, putting a boundary, saying no. Nope. as you can see, the central wand looks like a person sort of scrunched over, like he's being hit in the back by multiple other wands that are overpowering him or her. Mars in Leo is somebody that needs to stand up, be bold, courageous like the lion, and say, stop it. This is sort of a card of standing up to a bully, to the bullies. So if you're feeling like people are trying to tear you in different directions, in some way, asking too much of your good nature, asking you to work too much, whatever it is, the way you heal is going to be by putting your foot down and asserting yourself and being courageous about it. All right, Geminis. Gemini, how do you heal? Boy, Queen of Wands. Well, there is a strong woman in your presence, or maybe it's you. And this strong woman is very dominant. You look at her, look how huge the crown is. Her wand is huge and long and could clock you from 12 feet away. She's got her hands on the head of a leopard and she's controlling him. Now, do you relate to the queen? Are you the one who's dominant of others? Or are you the leopard and you're being dominated by someone else? This is a lot the question right now. How do you heal? You have to balance this issue of control. So if you are dominating people or overbearing in some way, you need to soften that up and let go. And if you are the one being dominated, then you have to extricate yourself from that situation and not allow people to dominate you. And there's a rebalancing of power. The Queen of Wands has a really strong will, and it can be used for enormously good things. But when it goes too far, you get the dominant, bossy helicopter boss, the narcissist sometimes. Nobody likes that, right? Nobody likes a micromanager. So if something has gone too far on that level, whether you're that boss and people are pushing back towards you and you have to reflect, or whether you're the recipient, there's a rebalancing of power that has to happen to heal. Boy, was that a mouthful, wasn't it? That was good. All right, Cancers. What do you need to heal, Cancer? Ah, lovely. The Empress. Well, you are usually like an empress. Look at all that. Look at all the nurturing going on there. She's got the moon cycles. She's got the full moon and the crescent moons in balance. She's got her hands in a cradling position. She's got the lotus talking about overcoming suffering and adversity and opening your heart. She's wearing pink and green, which are heart chakra colors. She's sitting with her crown and her moon, her ball and scepter on top. So she definitely has some power in her position. And she's got a coat of arms and the swan with the babies talking about, fertility. This is a sign of somebody that needs to nurture or mother. You might be working out issues with your mother. You might also need to learn how to nurture yourself better than you have. You might find that by nurturing others who are receptive to you, that's very healing. So if there's people that need you and they appreciate what you're giving, then that can be extremely rewarding. But otherwise, I'd say this lotus really is attracting me in this card this time. The lotus is the Buddhist symbol of compassion and triumph of suffering, because it will grow even in the mud and it will bloom. So Cancer, are you in the mud? Are you trying to bloom in the mud? because you need to bloom in the mud and you need to have compassion. And I'd say, first of all, it's focusing on compassion for yourself, because we all know most cancers walk around having a lot of compassion for everyone else, and they have insecurities or low self-esteem. And so it's time to nurture yourself and give some of that compassion to yourself and think about that blooming. You know, how can I bloom in the situation I'm in, even if it feels like I'm in the mud? Alrighty. Leos. How can you heal, Leo? Oh, wow. Okay, so you've got the Eight of Swords, which is interference. It's Jupiter in Gemini, which means you have too many things going on in your head. You're spinning out. You're just absolutely spinning with possibilities. You're overthinking everything. You're adding more issues and ideas and options to the and reasons why it's just non-productive. You're shutting yourself down. This is my analysis paralysis card. You cannot think your way out. You can't strategize your way out of whatever you're in. You're going to have to start unwinding your mind. Stop living in the what if, and then. And essentially it comes from a desire to try to control what we can't control. So for you, the way you would heal is to calm your mind and start detaching from trying to figure everything out. So that would mean to me resting and calm, and don't add anything more to your roster of projects or people that you're with or whatever. Like, pare down, don't add. And calm your mind, ground yourself. Really need to ground yourself to heal. All right, Virgos. And you get the Hermit. So we already talked about the Hermit. So Virgo, most Virgos I know don't mind some time alone, actually. They don't mind. This is a Virgo card. It's right on the card. So be true to your nature. If you want to be a bit more of an introvert or a loner, if you need to just be not so verbal, not tell so many people what's going on with you. You don't need to share your ideas and plans. You can keep them to yourself. This is a beautiful card of illumination, from going within and from solitude. It's enjoying solitude. It's productive solitude. It's returning to your spiritual path. That would probably be the best way I could say it, is you're either searching for your spiritual path, or if you have strayed or you haven't done much to encourage your own spiritual path, you need to reclaim it, take it back in order to heal. I love that message. That's great. That's a beautiful one. All right, let's see for Libras now. And happy birthday to my Libras. Libra, how do you heal? Oh my. The Tower. Well, you can see what's going on here. This is Libra's worst nightmare, is the Tower card. Because it means that there's anger and rage and destruction and things falling apart and things out of control, and you can't do anything about it, because it's when the Tower comes along, it's because we've ignored the warning signs, and now the Tower is coming along saying, we are going to force you now. So if you are feeling like there is some sort of shock or surprise or some rug being pulled out, it's very hard, this card. It's upsetting. Now, what's that mean for healing? Well, it might be time for you to really deal with some things you've been avoiding. Otherwise, they could come and hit you pretty hard. Remember what we talked about at the beginning with Libra planets, is that in the desire to keep things not rock the boat or keep things pleasant. It also keeps things suppressed if it goes too far. And when things are suppressed too long, you get tower moments, because we're not supposed to live, in this perfect harmony all the time. It's too hard. It's a concept. It's not very easy to achieve. It comes and goes. There's harmonious times and there's pleasant times, but we can't sort of always try to make everything work and fair and pleasant. And so it erupts every so often. You might be feeling, your own anger about stuff just suddenly coming up. And so if you do, the best thing you could do with the Tower card is to let things crumble and to let out your own anger for a change. It will rock the boat. Sometimes boats need to be rocked. Not every boat's worth being on. So the way you heal is this mouth of fire. You have to let out a lot of suppressed feelings. And you don't have to do it, like I said, you don't have to yell. You don't have to make a scene with anything or anyone. But you do have to get that out of your system. So how are you going to do that? Could write a letter and burn it. Could scream underwater. That's a good one. You could go, I don't know, chop wood. It's got to come out of your system, though. All right. Scorpios, how do you heal? Oh, very nice. So the healing for you, Scorpio, is a very solid, grounded new project. Could be a new business, could be a new book, could be a new project, a new course, a new role at work, a new side gig, a new investment. But this has a solidity. The Ace of Discs is a solid beginning, unshakable, but it's a beginning. So it's a beautiful card. So there's something, in order for you to heal, you need to sort of initiate something new. So I'm getting the feeling like whatever you're doing before was getting old or maybe too routined. And it's just going to sort of wake up your spirit and help with your self-discipline, I'm hearing. I don't find Scorpios usually lax on that, but maybe you've been feeling lax during the pandemic, and having something new to work towards that starts slow and steady and strong is going to give you that feeling of strength, motivate you and help you with your routines and your self-discipline. So this would be a very healing thing for you. And also sometimes Scorpio, you love the mysteries and you love the taboos and you love all the drama in a way. You like life close to the bone. So the antidote to that, for healing would be put yourself in something stable and see what that feels like. See what that brings up. But I get a very good feeling for you with this, that there is that healing going on, and it's not that hard. It's not that hard for you to do right now. All right. We're looking at Sagittarius now. How do you heal, Sag? Yeah, the Prince of Discs, huh? Well, I have to say it. Aleister Crowley did not like this card. He thought he was self-indulgent and irresponsible and sort of entitled. So do you know anyone like this? Might be time to deal with whoever that is in your life. Might be some cleaning up or clearing of the decks if you've got someone like this around who's just not stepping up, not a stand-up person. That could be anything. Anybody. It could be someone that's always bumming money off of you, that won't step up and be responsible. The basic message of this card is that he's sort of immature. He expects a lot, but he won't work for it. Now, you have to ask yourself too with this card, could this be you? There might be areas of your life or your ethics or your work life or discipline. Maybe you need to take a look at that too. I'm not calling all Sagittarians irresponsible by any means. A lot of Sages are always in there helping people from what I've seen. But sometimes I've noticed that, because you're in there being the one who's trying to rally the troops and coach people and help them be positive and go forward, you can sometimes be surrounded by a lot of these people, by a lot of people that are, sort of cling, or they're leeches, or you can get stuck enabling people. So that's the thing. I feel this moon is meant to heal. No more enabling, and if there's anything where you also need to tighten up your routines or your work ethic, or your, just mentally tune that up, tighten that up again. Sort of a weird thing to describe, but the energy is like something's sort of gone lax, and that leaves too much room for like laziness or taking for granted, or like I said, just bad ethics. So if that's the environment you're in, this needs to be cleaned up for your healing. Didn't expect that one. All right, so Capricorn, what do you need in order to heal? Ooh, we get the Emperor. Huh. Well, this is a Capricorn. Oh no, it's an Aries card. Well, this is all issues about your father, grandfather, power, authority, government. It's a chunky thing to say. Capricorn in general, because Pluto is sweeping through your sign for so many years, it's definitely teaching you lessons about your own power and authority and others over you. Now, that can be anything, can be political again, but it could also just be the relation with your own dad, or to the men in your life, or the women, the strong women, or your boss, your relationship to governments and rules. There's something in here that tells me you sort of need to make peace with it. Accepting certain things as they are, certain people as they are, accepting yourself as you are. Like if you know that you're a very independent person and you don't want to work for somebody who's going to micromanage you, well, you have to accept that's who I am. So that rules out a lot of types of work, and now I have to think of others. If this is relating to a relationship with a dad, the Emperor could have been a really strict dad. You might be needing to make peace with, some of the rigid rules, or maybe even oppressive atmosphere you might have grown up in. And if it's political, again, it could also be trying to make peace with what's going on right now and make decisions around it. It's a really heavy card to unpack as to what it means for your healing. But this is the general themes, you don't want to be this little sacrificial lamb, but you have to know who you're up against with the Emperor. Sometimes you do have the power to challenge him, and other times in life we don't. And so we have to accept what it is and work around it. So there's something in there where you're healing your relationship to authority and power. All right, Aquarius. How do you heal, Aquarius? Well, we got the sun. That's nice. Well, that's what we left off on. This is the sun is, two people dancing in the sun on a hilltop. And it looks like it's like an innocent cutie card, but the sun is number 19 out of 22, so it's not innocent. What's going on with the sun card is you've been through all of these other ups and downs and lessons in the tarot on the hero's journey, and now you've returned back to a good place with the wisdom of your journey, and now you're choosing to be happy. So the big message of this for you to heal is being happy is a choice. A lot of people resist that, you know. At the beginning, I used to resist that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm either in the mood I'm in or I'm not. What do you mean choosing to be happy? I thought that sounded stupid when I was younger. And as I progressed on the spiritual path, I realized, no, it is. At any moment, once you have enough mastery over your mind or your emotions, which isn't always easy, but more or less, you can choose and go, oh, wow, this thing happened, but I can view it from 5 different sides. So which one am I choosing? Which lens brings me happiness or peace? And then you choose it. And some people would say, oh, but what if that's not the truth? Like, this side is true too. This side is true as well. It's like, yes, many lenses of reality are true. So if I have free will, I choose the lens that helps me feel happiest and function the best, that aligns with me in the most true form, knowing that there are other versions that are equally true, but I choose mine. And that brings joy. And that is the Sun card. That was deep shit. Okay. Oh, this is who I am, though. I don't care anymore. I'm an intellectual and a tarot reader, psychic. Okay, Pisces, here we go. How do you heal? Magician. Great. We leave it off on a good card. How do you heal, Pisces? Well, this is my entrepreneur, manifester. You heal by getting in touch with all of your many talents and putting something together that is yours. And knowing that because you have all these skills and because you are living in the energy of what you want to create, pardon me, you know that you will draw the right people and you will have the right skills and the right people in the right space and whatever at the right time, because the magician just knows that it's going to work. So you need to arrive at that level of what am I going to do, and that you're that confident. He knows, or she knows, how the universe works. She knows that if I embody something that's great, that I love, that I can do with confidence, and that feels alive to me, that will start to attract what I need to make it happen. And because I believe that it'll start to attract what I need to make it happen, it'll get stronger. And you stay in that vortex. That's the magician. Wow. So this was an interesting video. So for those of you still here, I'm adding something new. And I'm going to probably launch it maybe tomorrow. I want to bring you something around the moon cycles to help you meditate and tune into your intuition. And I would love it if people listen first to this video and get a sense of what their lesson and message is before they do it, but it's up to you. But I'm going to guide you with each new and full moon now into just a shorter video meditation and question to help guide and open your intuition. And I feel excited about it because it's starting to align deeper with the lunar cycles, and like a ritual around the moon to help you go within and trust yourself more. But if you would like personal help, personal readings, if you're interested in my books, if you have any other questions about astrology, or you're looking for coaching or classes, I've got tons of stuff that I offer. You'll want to check out my links below, and please click like and share. All right, have a happy full moon.